Well, it's of course about the relaunch of the IPM Namibia. We are all excited about it as HR professionals. We really hope that the relaunch and the eventual people involved in it, of course all of us, will take the Institute forward and hope that there will be a lot of value add.
To help us to grow in the industry and to network and to share ideas, new ideas, and to share best practices in the industry. And we look forward for the institution to be best today.
Today actually marks the launch of the Institute of People Management in Namibia. It's a body that brings together all the HR practitioners or people management practitioners, just to create a forum where such practitioners would share ideas, would learn from each other, would support each other. It's just sort of a professional support body that is being established. The initiative was actually brought about came about through discussions between people management practitioners in Namibia. Previously there was such a body, yes. It used to be called the Institute of Personnel Management or Personnel Managers, which somehow, I don't know what happened, died a natural death. So this is somehow just sort of a revival of the same initiative. People that are still in the HR space this year felt the need to get together again, create another platform, hopefully that will survive the test of times, create some sort of a shoulder for HR practitioners to cry on. With Mr. Ekancho at the lead of things, and with the support from everybody that is here this evening, I really hope for the best.
Jim Collins actually said any organization, now you can even talk about the national, you can talk about Namibia even. Just imagine that it is one big bus. Now you have this huge bus, and in front you actually have got a driver. Now for the organization, it will typically be the CEO or the MD. Now for Namibia, it will definitely be, at helm it will be the President and the Right Honourable Prime Minister. So now the challenge of the driver is actually you only have a certain number of seats on that bus. So what you need to do is the challenge is you need to get the right people on the bus. Then the next challenge is you actually need to get the wrong people off the bus. Then once you've got all the right people on the bus, your challenge is when you got on the bus you actually had a ticket, and on that ticket there is actually a number on. Now it's important that you actually need to sit in the right seat. So now it might be that you've got all the right people on the bus, but it might be they are just in the wrong seat. So now your challenge is you actually need to move those people around to get them in the right seats. Once you've got them in the right seats, you can actually now start driving. But the problem is you cannot just start driving, you need to know where you're going. So as a country we've actually said, we want to become an industrialized nation, developed by her human resources. Fantastic. Okay, and that's why we are all here. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you all to be on this bus, on the IPM bus. There's a lot of visionary leaders that's actually part of this process, and I believe that we can actually steer this bus in the right direction, but on the condition that we keep up with the pace of the bus.
Human resources, people that have written about this subject now have moved to a next level. They are saying, we are the people that connect society with business. We are the people that connect society with government. We are the people that have to make sure that when we have brought people on board, they know what they have to do, and they can do that. That means that human resources has no favoritism. Human resource has to be ethical in its approach and processes to make sure that the right people are brought on board and the right people will deliver on the mission that we have set. Human resource has reached a critical stage, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we need associations to coordinate the activities of human resources within the country. The association will help us, as we have done in South Africa. We identify programs that are relevant, not only locally, but also that address global issues. But you don't ignore the specific country issues that we need to address. An association like this will also help us to network like we are coming today, because you cannot sit in your office as a learning and development officer thinking that you know everything, even if you come from the best university. Things change, and they change drastically, and they change fast. We are also connected to what is called the World Federation of People Associations through the African Federation of Human Resource Associations, which IPM Namibia is going to belong to.
People management is undergoing massive transformation. The knowledge economy, the large-scale and rapid change, increasing technological and social complexity, increased competition, all provide the logic and impetus for the emergence of a new kind of people management in this world. New industries are common. We are experiencing profound change in types of skills required. There's intense competition for talent, and innovation has become almost a condition sine qua non for us to survive in this environment. In today's marketplace, organizations do not just compete on productivity, but on knowledge. They do compete on service, nimbleness, agility, and general responsiveness. What has become quite clear nowadays in people management is that you need to make sure that thought leadership is one of the key ingredients in managing people and organizations. Secondly, it's evidence, and there is empirical evidence, a known fact, that those organizations that spend time on culture in their organizations are very, very successful. We need our HR practitioners now more than ever. The most successful HR managers will be those who think from the outside, thinking from the customer, whether it's the internal customer or the external customer, thinking from the customer back to the organization. Those would be the HR managers who partner businesses, driving a high-performance culture. In some places, it doesn't matter whether people outperform or whether people are on a relative basis doing more, add value to the business than others. We all treat it the same. But if you have to be successful as an organization, more and more emphasis needs to be placed on performance and holding people accountable. We need to have those tough, difficult discussions if we have to be successful as organizations. In most organizations, particularly in the private sector, we can't avoid tough conversations. You need to hold people accountable for you to win against competitors and to meet the needs of your customers. Allow me to wish IPM all the success with this venture and platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to finally launch IPM Namibia and get this off the ground. The launch is meant to be a start of many milestones that are planned in making sure that this institute fulfill its mandate in terms of its objectives, which are clearly outlined. Amongst many other objectives, IPM Namibia aims to professionalize the HR profession in Namibia that most HR professionals agree is currently in a state of mess. Secondly, IPM Namibia aims to build sustained partnerships with HR professionals and all its stakeholders. Thirdly, IPM Namibia aims to promote the use of sound and ethical people management practices in this profession. Fourthly, IPM Namibia aims to proactively provide thought leadership, education, and research in the field of HR professionals. IPM Namibia also aims to serve as an advocate to ensure that policymakers are aware of key people issues when making decisions. And lastly, IPM Namibia aims to provide easy access to critical information and trends in the HR profession. Those are the main objectives. These are the objectives that everybody who is involved or associated to IPM Namibia will be measured and held accountable for in terms of delivery. Now, in this country, we have become experts in setting objectives and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, as if we haven't done enough. At IPM Namibia, we wish to introduce an old unpracticed culture, that of making plans and implementing them effectively in ensuring we change the ugly face of the HR profession. Those who share the same approach, please join us in doing so. Many of my colleagues who have asked to join would ask me one question. They would say, Tim, what are the benefits in joining IPM Namibia? Of course, this is a justifiable question. When you pay your corporate memberships, you need to know what the benefits are. And of course, this is justifiable. But this evening, I would like to propose another approach, which is, what can we do for IPM Namibia, as opposed to what IPM Namibia can do for us, as we make up the membership and the strength of the Institute after all. Having said this, I therefore urge everybody in the HR and people management profession, both black and white, to demonstrate their support, not from the side of the fence, but by taking up membership and actively participate in the activities and programs of IPM Namibia. We are, however, asking you, when going back to your offices tomorrow, to support IPM Namibia in terms of membership. I'm delighted to inform you that IPM Namibia have already signed an agreement with a South African-based online people management magazine called Human Capital Review that comes out monthly. And all IPM members who have access to the website can now freely have access to this monthly magazine. I'm also delighted to inform you that IPM Namibia will host its very first HR conference in November of this year with the theme, Leading the HR Agenda in Africa, with an exciting lineup of international, regional, and local speakers. There are many challenges that we'll have to start working on immediately. We still have rife racism in the workplace. We still have to accommodate